The hardest challenge in
I'm interested in actually let me watch this one first. I'm interested in like how hard it is to make a gacha game because I assume when it comes specifically to the like simple mobile ones, I assume the servers is like the harder part. I don't know. So I'm gonna watch it in this video. I'm making a gacha game by Angel Sky.
I am
Oops.
absolutely addicted to character creators. If a game has the option of a character customizer, I will spend hours in there before I even click start.
Hey, so is this talking about like gacha like Genshin Impact type, or is it talking about that other one called gacha something? Forgot what that thing was called. But it had like a lot of customization, so is she talking about that?
And sometimes the character creator is the only reason I even boot up a game. The king of this genre, at least to me growing up, was Gacha Life. While
Yeah,
the other
Gacha
Flash
Life,
games
okay,
that
she's talking
occupied
about
my
that.
attention were limited to static, unmoving voids of nothingness, Gacha Life as an app had a studio feature, meaning kids like me could create a community out of storytelling with their OCs. While there is
Okay, so that's why it was popular. Like, I'll be honest, I never understood the gacha life. And then, like, the more I heard about it, the more I'm like, like, yeah, all these controversies and stuff. Nah, I stayed away from that game.
a lot to say about what transpired in this community, this video isn't about that. Those of you who have been subscribed for a while know that I took a really long break from YouTube, so when I returned, I was somewhat disillusioned on what this channel was going to be. At first, I had heard of some drama going on in the community, and while covering that situation introduced me to some amazing people, I still felt stuck. I'm not a fan of covering drama. It was around this time that my university started to nudge me towards looking at work experience, and at one point, I connected the dots. I looked at Gacha Life, I looked at the community projects born from it, and thought, I bet I can make one of these. I am not the first person to try this. There are many fan projects in the community that try to expand on the gacha formula, so I knew it was possible, but I didn't have a lot of time. In fact, I gave myself a hard deadline, 2 months. The plan was simple. If I got the fundamental customization features coded by March, I could put out a debut video. You see, in order to finish this game, I need the support of talented artists, and to do that, I wanted to guarantee them one thing. The code had to be there. Okay, so you needed a team to help out, but why the tight deadline? If all goes well and I have a team formed early, I could realistically have a project on the Apple Store by July or August. I could realistically have
Yeah, I played Dragon Raja for like 20 minutes, and then I like got bored. I don't know why. I was just like, and then I stopped playing.
a project on the Apple Store by July or August, ready for the internship cycle in October. As amazing as my ideas were, I knew I couldn't do this alone. That's where Napuff comes in. Friend of the channel, ex-Team Idolize member, and the creator of the comic Starchasms, Napuff went out of their way to grace me with their support. Now, if you take a look at the gacha community today, a lot of artists aren't actually using the vanilla chibi style. They tend to modify it. They stretch the proportions, they make the character
Yeah, one of the reasons why I never played that Gacha Life is because of the chibi characters. I'm not really a fan of the chibi art style.
look older, more adult, more suited for
Makes
serious
sense.
storytelling. So we took that inspiration. How do we create a more mature looking but still rooted in the gacha style base? Ladies and gentlemen, look no further than Gacha Studio. Gacha Studio is the abandoned older sister of the Gacha franchise. While the customization was extremely limited, it was still dearly beloved by me and Napuff. Not only was the early 2000s style awesome, but I also greatly favored the less chibi proportions. So in 2 weeks, Napuff managed to create this. And as for the name of the project, Mini Studio? Mini Muse. Mini Muse! Okay, art direction, done. Name, done. It was time to do the worst part. UI. Yeah, Mini-Muse burned through 4 UIs before settling on the one we currently have. The entire
It's not
month
too
of
bad.
January and a bit of February was spent in a
Like when I'm actually making like uh like what's it called? Like polishing a game, I go through so many UIs. Like I start with just the most basic thing, and then yeah, the UI is basically goes through the whole process of development. Uh, like I like I know it's going to take so many iterations, so I just make it as simple as possible. And then as working on other stuff, there's days where I'm like, okay, let me work a little on the UI. So like 4 iterations doesn't sound that bad actually. Yeah, it doesn't sound bad.
limbo. Not because of code,
It's
not
actually
because
pretty
of some
smart.
crazy bug I couldn't figure out, but because
Just
we didn't
design.
have any art. So there I was, mid February.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? Well, life got in the way. I'm a uni student with a part time job, and my week normally looks a little something like this. Busy, right? But
Uni
it
work
wasn't
work.
just me. Napaf works even longer weeks than I do. This meant that Minimuse was quickly falling behind on schedule. Luckily, like an angel sent from the heavens above, I had another friend offer their support. Ladies and gentlemen,
Maybe the problem of why I go through it takes me so long to make proper UI is because I'm bad at art. Yeah, maybe that's the issue.
give it up to Spooky. Spooky was an artist for another similar project, so they knew all the ins and outs of asset
Oh,
creation.
like the
Their
hairstyle.
support meant that the gameplay footage I'm about to show you will have actual, ready-made, beautifully designed assets instead of
It looks like it's been smoking.
placeholders. Trust me, you do not want to see how the placeholders look like. So by the end of February, all that was left was trying to make the game look presentable. While I didn't want to focus too much on the UI because I
Oh
knew
wait, I just realized this game maker. No, I should get back into it. I remember. Oh yeah, the reason why. Hmm. Well, yeah, yeah. Hold on, I'm thinking about so many things. Yeah, I remember getting a game maker as a kid and then like messing around with it. But then after I got into Unity, I haven't like used it since. I should actually look up a tutorial and I mean, yeah, a tutorial and see like what's the changes because the time I got it is when it was still paid. Yeah, paid. And then the annoying thing about that is when it went to it became like free. The updates basically messed up my project, so the game wouldn't like run. But yeah, yeah, I don't even have the files for that. I think it got deleted when I got a new computer. But I I like dropped that project anyway.
it was going to be replaced. It
I wonder is a game maker on Steam? Yeah, if I remember right, I got it on Steam. Uh, game maker. Okay, there's still a professional version you have to pay. Professional enterprise. Oh yeah, and then another annoying thing is, right? I paid for that, and then they just made it free. Then of course they got like other versions on top of that. Yeah, enterprise is the same price as when I bought it. That sucks. Okay, let me just edit and download it.
was hard not to succumb to perfectionism. The pressure was starting to get to me. This was everyone's first impression of Minimuse. What if people thought I didn't do enough? I stupidly started to compare myself. And in retrospect, I now understand how silly that was. A quote that I like to refer back to is, "It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist." And while trying to make Minimuse exist, I learned a lot. You see, Spooky and Napuff are the sole
Yeah,
reason this project is where it is today.
but yeah, perfection at start is not good. Just make the thing work first, and then yeah, like build on that. Got to have like a good foundation.
The nights I spent chatting with Napuff and jumping around my room in excitement when receiving assets from Spooky, made me realize just how important artists are. Now this sounds obvious. I am an artist. Of course we're important. What I
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Aren't you an artist?
is that it's so common to see artists get taken advantage of. Without artists breathing life into
Yeah,
projects,
that's true.
they'll never get as far as they do. Their contributions are the backbone of every project, and they deserve to be treated fairly. Napuff would know, Warner Brothers crack a strong whip. Jokes aside, I want Minimuse to be the project they always dreamed of being a part of. So without further ado, welcome to the official debut of Minimuse. Minimuse is in a very early
Looks
phase of
nice.
development, also known as the concept stage. This means that everything you see on screen will be completely redone and
Is it playable though? I might actually try this.
developed further to more accurately match the visions we have for the game. Crucial features like the shop and studio, which are in the main menu for example, are not finished, but will be available in later stages of development. So for now, let's customize Penelope more. The equip and color features are all available to use, as well as an array cycle that goes through all available assets for that category. While admittedly visually simple, these arrays are coded in a way that allows me to implement new assets in minutes. So while we currently have two
Yeah, that's
unique
good.
outfits in the game, in a few months' time, we could easily have hundreds. This system will eventually be further developed into an import system, where you can add your own custom assets into the game. As you can see, some menus are empty. This is because I don't have the assets for that category yet. But if you're interested in what these menus will eventually become, the Minimuse FAQ goes over it all. So, that is all we have for gameplay. A lot of the work that kept me up is unfortunately invisible. So while this may not look like much feature-wise, please understand that I only had roughly 2 weeks of straight up coding. The rest of my time was allocated to drawing. And in that very short time, the fundamental systems of the game are done, including menus you can't see yet. And while I could have taken another month to impress you with more in-depth customization features and a main menu, I'd much rather form a team for Minimuse as quickly as possible. In an ideal world, Minimuse already has UI ready-made for coding, a team of dedicated volunteers, and years of art ready for implementation, but we don't. This project is built off the back of one somewhat inexperienced solo indie dev, so maximizing the development progress is my top priority. As for concerns with the project, the only thing really stopping Minimuse is time. I'm confident in my abilities to code a game similar, if not better than Gacha Life. I'm just gonna need a little more than 2 months. Here is the official Minimuse roadmap. As you can see, we are in conception. The next phase of development is version 1. Minimuse's end goal is to have all, if not more, of the dress-up game features of Gacha Life 2. And because we're aiming for an App Store release in July-August time, the project's milestones will be streamlined and public information for everyone to see. As for the state of the project now, Minimuse is in dire need of asset artists and UI artists. We have a game, but it is empty. To ensure every artist enjoys their time with Minimuse, I have carefully written out 2 contracts for the 2 positions available. These are open to the public and stipulate all of the benefits and obligations you will have while on the team. I will now briefly cover some of the topics of interest for the sake of clarity, but I highly recommend that you read these documents in full and to not rely on any third parties for information. The most available spot on the Minimuse team is as a volunteer mini maker. Volunteers will have a right of ownership to all assets, art, or promotional content that they create for the game. This means that at any point in time, they can request for their assets to be removed from the project, for whatever reason. As a volunteer, you are also entitled to referrals. Beyond the work experience itself, I want to make sure this project actively benefits your future. That is why all volunteers are entitled to a professional referral from me. For example, let's say you design a hair asset for the project, but down the line you decide you want to apply for a job as a storyboard artist. When that day comes, I've got your back. I will happily sit down and write you a referral that highlights exactly what the employer needs to hear. The main hub for absolutely everything is our Discord. If you want to see development updates, participate in events, make some new friends, or officially become a mini maker, that is where you need to be. Now, the big question. What will happen to this YouTube channel? As I mentioned at the very start, I've been feeling pretty disillusioned with this channel for a while, so after much consideration, I have made a decision. This channel is officially becoming the home for Mini-Muse. That means development updates, team game nights, and all behind the scenes content will be posted here. But I also want this to be a space for the wider community. If other projects, say the folks working on Customs and Coffee, want to post a devlog or promote an upcoming update, they absolutely can. And also keeping the ad revenue. I feel like I have to add that. Alright then, what is next? As of this video going live, a few things are happening over at the Discord. First, we're launching multiple events to get the community active and engaged, but most importantly, 2 applications will be opening. The first one is something I'm genuinely excited about, a paid role within Mini-Muse. Here's the reality, we are working on the clock. And while I trust my volunteers and the contributions so far have been incredible, I also need to meet a specific quota before the App Store release. So I'm looking for a small team of artists to produce official Mini-Muse assets for the base game. So yeah, that was a lot. I'm fully aware that I dropped a massive info dump on you. Honestly, the start of this year has been one of the most chaotic of my entire life. There's no sugarcoating it. It's been messy. Throwing together a game in such a short time has cost me a good few sleepless nights. But Mini-Muse has also lit my world on fire. It's giving me something to dream about, and I've been having so much fun. Thank you so much for watching this debut. The anticipation and support I got from the community prior to this video was incredible, and I appreciate you all so much. Well, that's all folks. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay, interesting. I'll keep up to date. I don't know if I'll join that game, but all right.